I'm Marcie.
And I'm Lauren, and we're going to be doing a basic yoga sequence. And this can be done by beginners if you're not familiar with yoga, or if you just want a very simple yoga routine.
Lauren's going to lead with her voice, and I'll be leading you with my body so you can watch and listen.
Yes.
So let's begin. Are you ready?
We're going to start with a chair. I hope you can see that Marcie just has a fairly simple dining room chair here. No matter what kind of chair you've got, it's fine, except I wouldn't use a lazy boy, but you can use any sort of simple chair like this. Now she's got her feet on the floor, which is important. So if you need to scoot yourself towards the front of the chair so you can get your feet on the floor, please go ahead and do that. And then Marcie's going to put her weight onto her forearms, placing the forearms onto her thighs. And then just look at how heavy she hangs her head here. If you're unfamiliar with yoga, it might feel strange to hang your head. So just imagine someone that you trust is putting their hand just gently on the back of your neck. And you want to talk yourself through really releasing the entire skull and neck. So she's going to stay here for 3 breaths. And please hang your own head. Don't look at the screen for a moment. Breathe deeply for 3. And 2. And just one more. Inhale. And exhale. Now Marcie's going to sit up. You can do the same. And she'll take one arm up to the sky. Good. And then she's just going to take her other hand to her hip here. And she's going to lean over. So you can see she's stretching this whole side of her body. And the idea in any yoga pose is that once you come into it, you want to take a moment to feel the body. So I'm going to be quiet for a minute, and Marcie's just going to hold this pose, and again, breathe for 3 breaths. Now, if you're watching at home, there's nothing to really see here, so I encourage you to either close your eyes or in some other way just focus on the feeling in your body. One more breath. And then we always have to repeat on the second side what we did on the first. So she'll do that same thing, moving into the second side, leaning over. And see if you can feel between each of your ribs is muscle. And that is in part what we're stretching here, the muscles between the ribs. One more breath in and out. And then come on back to center. Now she's going to take one hand to the opposite knee. It doesn't matter which one you start with. And then the other hand will come all the way around to the back of the seat. She's pretty flexible. That's how she got this job. So she might be able to do more than you can, but just do the best that you can. She's going to look around with the head and slowly twist her whole body towards the back. Now if you're watching this at home, look away from the screen and really get the twist up into your head, your neck, your shoulders, your whole spine. Take 2 more breaths just sitting right where you are. And one more full breath in. And on the exhalation, she'll go to the other side. Twisting. And remember, the whole idea once you're in the pose is to feel the body and to feel your breath. And that's practice of yoga. One more breath. And then she'll come back to center. She's going to clasp her hands together and press the palms forward towards you. And then raise her arms all the way up to the sky. Good. Now as Marcie sits here, she's aware of her seat pressing down and her whole spine and torso lifting up. And she's really pressing the palms of the hands towards the ceiling. So you want to do the same thing. And similar to what we did a minute ago, she's going to keep this configuration with her arms and just lean to the side a little bit. And then she'll lean to the other side. Real simple, right? You can do this. And then she'll come back to center and release the arms. Good. Now, she may put her forearms down as she did before. As I mentioned, Marcie's a very flexible person, so she's going to be able to release her hands all the way down to the floor, and you may be able to do the same. If that's not accessible for you, if you have a belly flesh in the way or you just can't get down that low, it's fine. You can do what she did earlier with the forearms down. So my point is, go as low as you can. And just breathe here. This time for 5 breaths. And I promise you, nothing's going on up here on the screen while you're hanging your head down. So just stay there. Keep attending to your breath. 4. You're not missing anything. 3 breaths. 2. And 1 more full breath in. And long exhale. Now very slowly come rolling up again. And Marcie's going to stand up off the chair and reach her arms overhead. Now, I'm going to move the chair. Most of you won't have an assistant like Marcie does, so you might have to pause the video to move your own chair. And then when you're back in this standing position, the name of it is actually mountain pose, Tadasana. It's very simple, as you can see. All you're going to do is hold your body in this long, straight standing pose. Feel the feet on the ground, spread the toes. Feel the spine extend and reach as tall as you can through the fingers. Now look up to the sky and breathe in. 1 full breath. Good. As you exhale, let your knees bend and flop forward. Take hold of your opposite elbows with your opposite hands. Marcie gets down good and low, but the point is not to get low as Marcie. The point is to get as low as you can go, so that you take your body from whatever level it's at and make it a little bit more flexible every time you practice. Her knees are bent, and I hope she's relaxing her face. I hope you are too. A little smile helps to relax the face, or just opening and closing the jaw. And she's going to take 1 more breath right into the backs of her lungs. And then she's going to roll up to standing all the way. And as she did a minute ago, sweep her arms high. She'll bring her hands down to prayer position. And let's just spend a moment looking at the fingertips. So really nothing fancy here. Take a breath in and an exhale. Yoga is as simple as this. Inhale and an exhale. Good. Now I'm going to have Marcie change her direction so you can see her from a side view. So she's going to take what we call warrior number 1. And she'll start with her right foot in front. And as you can see, she's got her right knee bent at about a 90-degree angle, also known as a square angle, if you remember your geometry. The back leg is long and straight. And she's got her hands on the hips, which is a very nice place to start. If you can take your arms up overhead, go ahead and do that. Now, some of you may feel that when you bring the arms up, your low back starts to hurt. If that's true for you, bring the hands back on the hips. And then just stay there. You're just going to hold this pose for 3 breaths. If it becomes a challenge for you, that's good. You're strengthening, building flexibility and stamina. 2 breaths. And then 1 more breath. And then she'll take her hands down. And she'll do the same thing on the second side. So her left leg is now in front. Her front knee is at 90 degrees. And you can see her back leg is nice and straight. Now her hands are either at the hips or overhead, either way. And her breath is as consistent as it can be. You might think, what does the breath have to do with it? But the breath is very important to circulate oxygen throughout the body, to calm the mental state, to awaken the mind and the awareness, to calm the emotional state as well. Really important that your breath is through the nose and it's deep. Now Marcie's going to come out of the pose and she'll take what we call warrior number 2. So she's going to use the same legs, but you can see her arms are in a different variation here. And just hold it for 3 breaths. And 2, you feel the legs strong and engaging. Let your breath keep flowing. 1 more breath. And then release the arms. And do warrior number 2 on the second side. Okay, you'll notice the legs are just the same as warrior 1, same leg position. Arms are in a different position for 3 breaths. And 2. And 1 more breath. Exhale. Okay, now keeping the legs wide, bring the hands to your hips. Turn the toes forward. So if you can see now, Marcie's feet are more or less parallel to one another. And she's just going to fold forward towards the floor. She's got a nice bend in her knees. She's not rushing it. And all that training that she has to release her head and her shoulders, you can see in this pose. If you're new to folding forward, you're new to relaxing the body other than going to sleep, it may take a couple of rounds of practice to really let your shoulders and your head and your neck get heavy. From here, take both hands to your left ankle. Pull yourself into your left leg and just breathe like you've got nothing else to do. Through the nose. You should be feeling a stretch in the left leg. If you want to extend your left leg a little more, do it slowly. And then do the same thing on the other side. So moving to the right. If you want to extend your right leg, it's a slow stretch. Never be in a rush, especially if you know you have tight muscles. Yoga is meant to heal our muscles, to open the areas that are tight, even to heal old injuries that have maybe been stuck around for years. But we got to approach it slowly. Come on back to center. And then bending the knees a little bit, roll up. Take the arms open into the shape of the letter X. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Now we're going to take one balancing pose. And you may choose to use your chair again here. I'll bring the chair just for show. Some of you won't need it. So Marcie's going to take her feet together. And she'll put her hand on this chair. And with her other hand, she'll lift her knee up and bring it to the side of her body. Good. Now, if you've got the chair but you feel, oh, I don't really need the chair, you can extend the arm, just like a ballerina. Hold the pose. Keep getting really strong and conscious in your standing leg. And then you can release it. And rather than move the chair, just turn around, use the other hand, and lift your other knee. Knee comes to the side. And if you need the chair, great, it's there for you. If you want to try without, you can open the arm. And it helps to hold your eyes on one single spot so you're not looking around. And one more breath. And then you can release it. Okay, that's all the standing poses that we're going to do for today. So we're going to have Marcie get down onto the floor on hands and knees position. Good. And actually, why don't you turn to the side so I can see your spine? Yeah, sure. Good. So she's a very good model. She's a good demonstrator because she can go so deeply into the spine. So just watch one time and then you can do it on your own. So take an inhale. And look how she's lifting her chin, she's lifting her heart and her tailbone. It's a nice back bend. And then an exhale, like an angry cat, head towards tailbone. Do it again. Inhale, back bend. And then exhale, forward bend. Again, inhale. And exhale. Really easy, straightforward. Inhale. And exhale. One more time, breathe in. Exhale. Now we're going to add the legs so it gets a little bit more strenuous here. Take your knees together so that they touch. As you inhale, lift the right leg up behind you. Lift up your chin and your chest so you make it a back bend. And as you exhale, bring your knee into your head. You can kick it, I'm impressed. Inhale, take it up. Exhale. 3 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Get a rhythm going. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Place the knees together. And we'll repeat that on the second side. Inhale, exhale, smooth, inhale, exhale. Again. Exhale, last 2. Inhale, exhale, one more time, exhale. Good, now bring the knees down. If you're not familiar with downward facing dog, I just want you to watch before you do it yourself. So Marcie's going to come into down dog. And this is a very popular position these days in yoga. It's really nice to open up your spine. Now if you look at her, you can see that she's essentially in the shape of an inverted V, an upside down letter V. A lot of new students, I'm going to have her do the wrong thing for a minute. A lot of new students, the other way, take your, yeah, but come forward almost like more. A lot of new students do this. Don't do that. You'll tire yourself out in a minute. So if you feel yourself doing this, move back into that pose. One way to think about it is her chest is moving towards her thighs. So if you're not already in the pose, try it. Downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Extend the backs of the legs, 2 breaths. Lift the hips. And one more breath. Good, now stay with it if you can. If this is getting too tiring, you can put one of your knees down. If you're okay, bring your feet together and then raise the right leg up to the sky. Yes, and point those toes and reach for the ceiling like you really thought you could touch it. And if you can, come up on the tippy toes of your standing foot. So this pose should feel good. Make sure you're breathing, you're not rushing anything. And then just change legs. Same pose, second leg lifting. Reach up, that childhood innocence where you believe you can actually touch the sky. Reach high. You're on the tippy toes of the standing foot. Your head is still released. Good, and then bring the legs together again. And let's come into child's pose. Marcie's got a beautiful child's pose. For some people, your head is not going to reach the floor, in which case you can put your hands underneath your head. Or I've seen some students use a pillow or a block, just something so that your forehead is supported. And then you can turn away from the screen and just feel your body relaxing into the floor. If this hurts your knees, I wouldn't do it. Otherwise, stay with it and breathe into the backs of your lungs and right into the lower back. And I'm just going to count for 3 breaths. 2 breaths. And 1 more. Slow breath in and out. Child's pose is a great pose if you ever need a break during this class or any yoga class. Any yoga teacher will understand if you have to have a break, you use this pose. So from here, we're only going to do 1 more pose, and then we'll take our traditional rest. So Marcie's going to come onto her back. How does that feel to be on your back?
Nice.
Okay, scoot this way a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay, there she is, smiling on her back. Just going to take her arms overhead and just rest them on the floor. Just let them flop on the floor. And then take the knees up towards the chest. And this should feel good on the low back.
Oh, it does.
Yeah. Keeping the arms overhead, take your knees to one side. So just drop them off to one side. And then once you're there, there's really nothing to do but enjoy it. Let the twist stretch you in your hip. You might feel it in your spine. Some people feel it in their shoulders. Just enjoy it. And then you know we've got to do the second side. So same thing, arms remain where they are. Twisting your knees to the second side, enjoy the twist. Alright, so that's it for this particular sequence. You're going to come into Shavasana now, and Marcie's very good at Shavasana.
Everybody is.
Everybody's good at Shavasana. You just lie your legs down. You let your arms come alongside you. And then the eyes are closed. And I'm just going to sit for a few moments here. As I've said before, I'm not going to do anything. Marcie's not going to do anything. We're just going to have a moment for Shavasana. So you can close your eyes and let the video run. And I'll let you know when a few minutes is up. Take a deep breath in, keeping your eyes closed. And a long breath out through your nose. And do that again. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Wiggle your toes. And very slowly roll onto your right side. And just spend a minute here. We call it fetal position. And then you can sit up. And if you can come into a cross-legged position, that's great. If that hurts your knees and you need to sit like this, that's okay too. And traditionally we end the class just like this, closing the eyes, sitting up tall through the spine. And we'll take a full breath in and out. And an exhale. Now run your mind through the body, notice any shifts in the body. And we'll finish with 3 ohms. Inhale. To prayer position, and to each other we say Namaste. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.